How will the postponement of Doomsday and Secret Wars affect Spider-Man Brand New Day? After the intro, we'll speculate. Hold on. Hello, pop culture consumer lady, we're back. Let's talk about the repercussions of the postponement of Doomsday, mainly, which moved from May 2026 to December 2026. Secret Wars was also postponed from May 2027 to December 2027. This caused a chain reaction because two movies from November 2026 and 2027 were cancelled. They were removed from Marvel's lineup. The movies didn't have names yet. And also one in February, which would be 2 months after Avengers and wouldn't make sense. It would be too close to Avengers. So Marvel gave up 3 dates. They're going to move those dates to other points. So it's not impossible for us to imagine that at Comic-Con there will be announcements of upcoming movies. But let's remember, the time is running out. Are you going to announce a Shang-Chi 2 for 2026? 2026 when, my friend? It's already July. When is this production going to start? Are you going to announce a Black Panther 3 for 2026? When, buddy? We're already in mid-2025. Will it be 2027 soon? Why can't it be at the end of the year, November? It won't be possible. There will be another year to produce the movie. There's already a script. There's already a director. Where's Doctor Strange 3? Marvel is painting a weird scenario where Marvel only has Avengers in 2026 and 2027. It's looking kind of strange that we'll only have Doomsday and Secret Wars in those 2 years. One Marvel movie per year, because I'm not seeing things happening. I'm not seeing this movie being announced. I'm not seeing the director being announced. I'm not seeing rumors about scripts. Let's see what happens at this Comic-Con. I'm really curious to know how Marvel is going to fill its schedule up to 2027, if they're really going to split Secret Wars in two and open up more space for new movies to keep things going, right? We need these movies to keep things going because just Avengers is too much content to put in one movie. You have to tell the whole multiverse story again because Kang is gone. Anyway, and there's the Spider-Man movie, which doesn't fit into these Disney slots because it's a Sony movie. It goes into Sony's slots and Sony has that slot. On July 31st, and there was that whole story, remember? Spider-Man is going to be a multiversal urban movie. Sony wants the multiverse because it made money with Spider-Man, No Way Home, and Spider-Verse, the animation. So they've decided to make another multiversal movie. And Marvel Studios supposedly came up with the story of, no, let's make an urban movie. Let's make a friendly neighborhood movie. Let's really focus on Spider-Man, on Peter Parker, not on the Variant Mountain. Let's lower the bar a bit, make a more intimate movie. Then there's the whole story, like Spider-Man comes out in July, 2 months after Doomsday. Of course, it's going to draw from Doomsday. Of course, it's going to have some influence from Doomsday. So the script changes. Again, no, now it's really multiversal. It has to be multiversal because it's stuck between the two movies. It's squeezed between the two Avengers, and Spider-Man will have to somehow, since it happens with the Captain Marvel, he'll have to somehow address what's going on, unless it's a prequel. Otherwise, it feels weird. You're wanting to know what will happen after Doomsday, and the next movie doesn't even deal with the subject, just like the Wasp movie. The Wasp movie has nothing to do with Thanos' situation until the end, almost in the post-credits, when we find out what the relevance of Infinity War is for Ant-Man. I don't know, but now the unthinkable happens, now the craziness happens. Because Doomsday comes after Spider-Man. Doomsday Spider-Man. Spider-Man is in July, Doomsday is in December. And now? Is Marvel going to go back on their decision? No, it doesn't need to be multiversal anymore. Let's go back to the idea of a street-level Spider-Man movie involving criminals, gangs, and not the collapse of the multiverse. So, how does the story go from there? Okay, I agree. Or not? How is it going to be? The worst part is that this has happened before because thanks to the pandemic, we had a very similar change. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness used to come before Spider-Man, No Way Home. The Multiverse of Madness was going to introduce America Chavez, who has the power to open star-shaped portals that connect the multiverse. She was the one who was going to bring Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. It was America Chavez. There's even concept art of her in the movie. Introducing America Chavez in Spider-Man before her appearance in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness wouldn't have made sense when the movie switched, so changes were necessary. A workaround, a patch, an add-on to explain that Ned, who never had that background, actually came from a family of wizards and had latent mystical powers. And then, out of nowhere, Ned starts opening portals. And they also had to come up with a workaround so we could kind of subtly understand where the variants came from, because it's not really explained. In other words, the movie had to fix itself, had to patch things together with spit and tape to make any sense, and that affected the script of No Way Home. It could have been much better if it came after Multiverse of Madness and not before, so that's already happened. My fear is that they'll take this Spider-Man script, which is planned to be between these two movies, and patch it up too. Maybe the best decision is Spider-Man's 2, because it sits at an acceptable distance between these two movies, it doesn't interfere with any others, and there's no need to change its initial planning because this script is ready and filming is about to start. It's important for us to decide at what point we are with this script, up to when this script is ready, up to when this production is moving forward. We already know they're hiring actors, and if Spider-Man Brand New Day is counting on Doomsday, because if it's counting on Doomsday, then for me it's all happening together. Now, if not, it's a more independent movie that doesn't depend on Doomsday. In fact, it was carrying the weight of Doomsday. It was dragging Doomsday along like a burden, like a load. The script constraints are gone, potentially good news. We have a freer movie with fewer limitations. A movie that maybe was supposed to be a prequel. And now it's not a prequel anymore. Now it's a movie that's part of the timeline. And it's much better this way. So that's my opinion about it. The postponement of Doomsday and how Spider-Man fits into this whole story. I want to know what you think. So write it down here below. More pop culture topics coming soon in the comments. After the intro, click the channel options to stick around longer. Don't forget to also leave a comment, a like here. Interact with the channel in some way so you can keep receiving updates about our content. See you later. See you soon. See you in a bit. Bye. Subtitles by Sonia Ruberti.